So John Paul and Jean Marie, Northstar and Aurora, the twins from Alpha Flight, are walking through some city in Canada. It may be Ontario or Quebec. I can't remember. I mean, I just recently finished reading the first volume of Alpha Flight Classic by John Byrne. John Byrne is one of my all-time favorite comic book artists. He may be my favorite, but he's great. He's amazing. It's weird because, a lot of these guys, I love their art, and I don't know anything really about them. I just know John Byrne's Canadian. I met him in person. I got his autograph on a couple of books that he did, and I just remember being like shy and annoying when I talked to him. I had a couple of friends with me, and they were being dicks to him because of his Superman, his old Superman reboot. So they hated that, and I wasn't a fan of it either when I was a kid. But now I think I could appreciate it more. I bought them all, so I'm gonna reread them and see what I think. But anyway, so the reason why I even say I don't know much about him is because I don't know what his reasoning for making Jean-Paul gay, other than that he's a lot more progressive in his art than he may be in reality. From what I hear, he's a dick, like a racist and all this stuff, and that's probably stuff that's because of SJWs is overblown. I know a lot of people. I know people seem to hate him because of how sexy he drew She-Hulk, and I think that they're just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Because when you look at She-Hulk or Jean Marie Aurora, they're not just beautiful, sexy women. They're smart, funny. Especially She-Hulk's funny. Jean Marie is kind of witty when she's in her Jean Marie, or when she's in her Aurora sort of personality. But she's very confident and very strong. She's sexy. She loves sex. She's wild. But it's not making fun of her when that's done. Like, she's really fucking badass. And in this 2-part story involving Northstar and Aurora, where they go to wherever the fucking city they go to, and John Paul's like, hey, look, I got a friend here. We're going to talk to him. I don't even know why. I forgot why. And they're walking down the street, chilling, and some dude runs up on them, grabs Jean-Marie Aurora's purse, and runs off. Aurora catches him. They take this dude to jail. And the cop's like, oh, the dude you just brought in here, they already bailed his ass out. Some gangster who lives in this town named Deadly Ernest runs things. He runs shit, so... he just threw the money at me. I had to let the nigga go. Sorry. So they're like, all right. I mean, that's how it is. It sucks, but you do what you got to do, my nigga. So they're leaving, right? And so the cop is telling Jean-Paul, we've pulled him in a dozen or more times on charges, but we've never been able to make them stick. He's very, very slick, is Ernest. Well, good luck to you, Chief Constable. I tried to do a French accent, but I don't feel like it. I'm sure if St. Ives is foolish enough to employ such a rabble as tried to snatch my sister's purse, he will slip up someday. I hope so. And then off panel, some dude goes, Jean-Paul! So then we look and see, who the fuck is this? Raymond! So, it is good to see you, but what on earth are you doing here? Not looking for me, surely. What else? I am not so spry as I once was, but I have not lost my ears to the street. I heard what happened and hurried over immediately. And then Jean-Marie, who hates to be ignored for more than 2 seconds. Ahem! And Jean-Paul's like, or Northstar, oh, Raymond, may I present my sister Jean-Marie? She's like, enchanted, Mr. Belmond. Jean-Paul has told me all about you. And this is the first hint. And there may have been he may have been appearing in other comics where they've hinted that, well, anyway, let me just say it. So she says, John Paul has told me all about you to this dude, Raymond. And Raymond goes, he has? That surprises me a little, my dear. But may I say how delighted I am that Mother Nature so graciously imparted Jean Paul's features to a woman, where handsome may become beautiful. Now, let us get off the streets, no? So, these streets ain't playing, they out here hitting motherfuckers. We gotta get off these streets. So, they do. Minutes later, in the small restaurant owned by Raymond Belmond. So then Raymond Belmond is talking to Jean Paul. They're sitting in a bistro. So this is already letting you know what's going on with Jean Paul. He's saying it without telling you. You're just supposed to pick up the context clues. So these two are sitting off in the left corner talking. And then Raymond goes, "Then you have not really told your sister all about me after all, Jean-Paul. I thought that would have been odd. Not so odd as this place of yours standing empty. I don't know why they have the same voice, but he goes, not so odd as this place of yours standing empty as a graveyard, and this their height of the lunch hour." So he's like, yeah, I've had troubles with this motherfucker named Deadly Ernest. So I'm just looking. So let me see. His art is great. I just love his figures. So they're playing around, talking. Jean-Marie, I guess, went to wash up, and she came back in the middle of that conversation, so they don't get too much into detail what's going on. Basically, I think he's just telling them, yeah, the reason why my place is empty is because this motherfucker has been putting the screws to me, and I'm not biting. So we got all these motherfuckers, basically keeping... Deadly Ernest is basically keeping people from, patronizing my bistro. So, I'm not going to read all this crap. But he's talking shit. He's just saying, yeah, this is some bullshit. They fucking me over. Blah, blah, blah. And he's just running his mouth. He's just going. He's just still talking. Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, this chick shows up. While, after Raymond was... running his mouth, telling his life story. Woe is me. Deadly Ernest is a bitch. He fucking me over. I don't know what I'm going to do. I could be making big money up in these streets if it wasn't for this asshole, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden this chick goes, "Father, things are bad enough. Do not make them worse by involving strangers." And he's like, "Danielle, I did not know you were home." And so then here's another context clue regarding your boy, Jean-Paul Boubier. "Raymond, this is your daughter? But how? I mean, ellipsis, ... You never told me of a daughter." And then Raymond is like, "Danielle has only recently entered my life again, Jean-Paul. She is a treasured reminder of the very different man I was." Very different, okay? "Since the death of her dear mother, she has been living here with me. Danielle, permit me to introduce Jean-Marie and Jean-Paul Boubier." And then Danielle goes, "Boubier? Not the Jean-Paul Boubier, the ski champion?" Can you hear me when I said that? She said, "The ski champion?" And my voice is cracking. I've been talking all day at work. "The same, mademoiselle. You have not been long with your father." He's still disturbed by the fact that this dude, look at how he's dressed, has a daughter. Because the way he knows him, there's no way he would have had a daughter. But again, context clues. She's like, "Oh, only 2 months. I'm studying the classics. Who cares?" So they're talking about this. And in the middle of their discussion about them being harassed by Deadly Ernest, etc., etc., this motherfucker Deadly Ernest shows up and is like, "Get in there. Go drag Belmont's ass out here." They just do, and these dudes just go, "Fine, okay, no trouble. Just come in here. We're here for Raymond Belmont. We're going to drag his ass out and beat him up." I guess that's what they're going to do. So Danielle's like, "Fuck that. I'm not doing none of this shit." And then Jean-Paul, context clues or not, is a hero. And he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck you think you doing?" So they just push him. And he pretends that, he can't really do anything about it because, he's, secretly a mutant. He's secretly a lot of things. So the story is going to try to tell us, So anyway, he's like, "Man, I wish I could fight, but I got to be careful because I don't want to reveal myself." Danielle's looking great. John Byrne's art is slick. He's really good. So he's got some sexy ass women. Look at Aurora. So these motherfuckers are dragging Raymond out. These thugs, they bringing him to Deadly Ernest's car. Aurora is like, "Okay, what is this shit all about?" But she's just going along with it. So they bring him to the car, blah, blah, blah. This is all leading up to something. I'm not going to read this whole story. It's just interesting how John Byrne would tell you about Northstar without actually telling you about Northstar. So they're like, for, you know, how comic books are. On the day that Jean-Paul and Jean-Marie show up at this dude's bistro is the day he just gets smoked by Deadly Ernest. So Deadly Ernest, old big goofy looking ass, and that's the thing. Alpha Flight has some really weird looking characters, both the good guys and the bad guys. And I know people, I don't even know how big it is, but I know people, if it, like I said, attack or don't like John Byrne for being, I don't know, I guess they don't like him for drawing sexy women. And so they just ignored all the different types of characters that he's drawn and created. And I mean, he's drawn disabled people, dwarves, black people, aliens, creatures, all kinds of different characters. He's got a great Native American character and shaman, and then his shaman's daughter, who I have to reread further into these volumes because I forgot her name. Talisman. I think it's Talisman. And you don't see a lot of these characters he created anybody doing anything with them, and they're all diverse. They have different sexualities, different ages, and his thing. That's the thing about his women. His women are so great, and none of them. Well, besides Jean-Marie, maybe her wimpy Jean-Marie personality, because she's a classic paranoid, so she has split personalities. One is the confident, sexy Aurora, and the other one is the shy, retiring, prudish Jean-Marie. But all of them are down with it. They always want to have sex. Sue is great in Fantastic Four, where she's always like, "Hey Johnny, we may be in the microverse or whatever, but go hang out with Thing for a while. Me and Reed got to talk." That's how she ended up getting pregnant. That one time was because she was, she was fucking. They were fucking in the microverse, and she started it. That was not the microverse. It was the whatever little verse or whatever they went to. But sorry. Anyway, I was saying this because Deadly Ernest is a weird guy, and he just reaches his hand out and he starts massaging Raymond's face, and it's like, what the hell? Get your hands off me, motherfucker! Oh, never mind. And he dies. So Deadly Ernest has this deadly touch, and poor Raymond, who's like a cool dude with the got the ascot going and everything, but he died. And Danielle is like screaming and hooping and hollering, just a really dramatic look. Look at him in the foreground. I'm gonna try to do my cartoonist kayfabe a bit here. Yeah, man, if you check out the I can't do the voice right now because I'm too tired. I've been on the phone too long. Raymond! As Jean Paul's upset and disturbed by this. And this other dude's like, "Hey, this chick is hot. You want to keep her or And he's like, "Well, if that's the daughter, yeah, go ahead and bring her with me because we're gonna." Yeah, he says, "Is that the daughter? She will be negotiating the sale. Now Raymond is gone. Bring her." So Aurora's like, "Well, God, I guess I'll go because shit. I mean, I got superpowers. I'll see what this shit is all about." So anyway, he's like, "Look, if y'all want to follow me," this is he being Deadly Ernest. He's like, "Stay back, all of you. Miss Bellamont and I have business to discuss. But if anyone tries to follow, she joins her father." And John Paul's thinking about this shit. He's like, "Aurora, Jean-Paul, do as he says." That's Jean-Marie. And then this is a really great image here. I need to get these. I may have these in physical copy. I like using guided view, as I'm going through a comic book, especially like on a laptop, because I'm not really super comfortable with reading it on laptop. But for space reasons, I have to get an easy access. I have to get more digital comics for now, anyway. John Paul, I can't find his pulse. I don't think he's breathing. I think he's dead. I like this. Look at this drawing. Look at this in the background, like this. Man, okay, so if you look at the ground, the floor here, man, you can see the brick pattern, and look at all of that, man. That's a lot of carbon monoxide that's going out from the back of this car, man. You got all the cross hatchings here on the buildings in the back, man. You got everything going on with this. Okay, so here again, this is really kind of where I wanted to bring this up to, is John Byrne telling you Northstar is gay without telling you Northstar is gay. And so here's the narrator. He says, I think he's dead. The words seemed to reverberate along the suddenly silent street. Jean-Paul Boubier feels a great black emptiness open in his heart, a gaping maw threatening to swallow whole his world. I like this drawing here. She's all upset and devastated. Down here, if this would stop showing up every time I try to go down here, whatever. All right. Until Northstar found Aurora, Raymond Byrne had been the most important person in his life. More than a father. Much more than a friend. See, there you go. Right there. Much more than a friend. He had found John Paul. Scarcely more than a boy. Okay, this is a little naughty, a little bit more than we would like to know about the ages involved in this situation. However, let us continue. He had found Jean Paul, scarcely more than a boy, alone and frightened. Frightened of what he thought he was, and what he feared he might become. A Broadway dancer. Anyway, and Raymond had led him out of that dark fear into the bright, clear light of self-acceptance. Here you go. Bright, clear light of self-acceptance, teaching him not to fear his mutant powers or any other thing. This is the important part. Or any other thing, okay? Now, with the speaking of 4 short, sharp words, an iron door has closed upon a chapter of his life, and Jean-Paul Boubier is alone again. Sacre bleu. You have made a grievous error, Ernest St. Ives. You have taken from me my sister and my friend. And for that, I will kill you. Bum, bum, bum. Unconnected interlude. Alright, I think this is... What is this? Okay, this is setting up when shit really goes down by issue 11 or 12. So yeah, there are other points in the comic, in the book, where, you know, before Marvel finally outed him, you know, where he's telling you the guy's gay. And I just think it's so interesting. Like I said, I didn't read much about Byrne. So I'm not sure where he was coming from, why he decided to do it. He's just interested in doing a variety of characters, maybe somebody he met in real life, especially at that time. I think it's cool. And him being in the closet, you know, he can be out now, that's fine. But it seems like him being in the closet, he was a better, more interesting character. You know, him being out, he's just forgotten, underused. You know, I think he's, what is he? Is he an X Factor or Excalibur? I don't even know where he is right now in the comics. I don't even know where Aurora is. Like, Alpha Flight is a strange book with a strange cast of characters. One of the things that I feel like a lot of people were probably frustrated with the book, and, you know, especially when it first came out, is that they're not a typical team. They're hardly ever together fighting a common enemy. They're always spread out. They didn't have a real great base of operations. They just sort of, you know, do something and just get involved in something. Like Walter Legowski would go out and end up getting into a fight with Super Skull. John Paul, Jean-Marie would get into a fight over the fact that Jean Paul figured that Aurora slept or did something sexy with Deadly Ernest to not be killed by him, which was really, let me see. That was interesting. And, that's when they broke up. So was that the very next issue? All right, let me see. I won't keep everybody forget. But, this is just, nobody cares. So let's see. Where was it where she got super pissed? All right, so let's get to one of the things. Let me see. I'm trying to get to it. It's just waiting for this nonsense. All right, okay. What I really liked. So, the second issue, after he said, I will kill you, there was a second issue where he had to actually find out where she was, which it wasn't that hard. It was like, Ernestine Ives got the biggest house in town. He's just down the street. Go over there and get her out. Somehow he ended up getting caught up with this weird, strange-looking woman who he thought was the daughter of of Raymond. He thought that Danielle was actually this weird character whose name I forgot. Oh, Nemesis, the woman called Nemesis. So he was thinking that, oh, wait a minute, she came here to get revenge and kill Deadly Ernest. Maybe, look, this is, I should have said this at the beginning. I'll say it in my description, in the description box below. Oh, that there's spoilers for these issues, but some chick named Nemesis was an interesting looking character. I don't remember whatever happened to her after this. So Northstar and then this girl ended up storming the house and killing Nemesis. Ended up killing Deadly Ernest, and Northstar was trying to stop her from fighting them or from killing, but it was too late. So he thought this was Danielle. So he was like, "No, Danielle, don't be a killer. This is terrible." But then when he took the mask off, he saw somebody else, and it was just like, "What the fuck? This is horrifying." And so she knocked his ass out with her sword. She has this weird special sword that's like do supercuts. And so she was like, "All right, so I knocked this motherfucker out." She says, "And what if you, Aurora? It's also your intent to try to stay me from my holy cause?" And this is where I tell you, like, she's witty and I love her. She's like, no, Cherie. It has always been my habit to leave holy causes to those better suited to deal with them. However, the police may think otherwise. I suggest you depart before I summon them. So she's cool. She's a badass. She's funny. Your boy John Paul knocked down on the ground. I wish this would stop this box. Maybe there's a way I can stop that from coming up when I scroll down. But your boy John Paul's cacked out. A Nemesis, who we don't know who she is, even though we thought it was Danielle, the daughter of Raymond. And then there's Jean-Marie like, "Hey, look, I'm about to call the cops. I'm not trying to stop you, but, you can just hop on out of here." So minutes later, "I do not like this, sister. We should have waited for the police to arrive." She's like, "No one in that house was going anywhere, brother. They will be there for the police to collect them. Remaining would only have jeopardized our secret identities. It is all well and good not wearing masks, long as we don't let anyone get too close and look at us." I'm reading that, but I don't think, let's see. Oh, okay, never mind. I was reading that because I thought that, well, doesn't matter now. I'll tell you what's going on. So anyway, they go back to the bistro. And Aurora is just like, here's Danielle. "Jean-Marie, you escaped St. Ives?" "Oh, I did not have to escape, Danielle. Ernest thought I was you, and he would not have harmed his partner." And then John Paul's like, "What? His partner?" So this hussy, they both go, "What?" And Aurora's really cool. "Your surprise is predictable, brother, but please spare us the performance, Danielle. It struck me as odd that you returned to your father just when St. Ives started pressuring him to sell his restaurant. By simply going along with his mistaken assumption as to my identity, I discovered your deal with Ernest." "All right, you found me out. You won't take me to the cops. Ernest will hide me, help me get away." So she thinks she can run, but she doesn't know this girl has superpowers. Although she really doesn't need superpowers at this point. She's like, "Ernest is dead, Shelley. And if this country had a nice civilized death penalty, you would join him. As it is, you'll be put away until your hair turns a more natural color, as say gray." So she's sitting there talking shit. She tripped her. She's assaulting her and everything. So, and then an hour or so later, and that, as they say, is the story, Inspector. And it's just so cool how, like, calm. She's doing her Sherlock Holmes thing. She, discovered who else was involved in the case, blah, blah, blah. And John Paul's just standing like, "This is also fucked up shit. I don't know what the fuck's going on." Okay, so the earlier part that I read with the two of them flying in the air, I thought led to this conversation. I just finished this book like a couple of days ago, but my brain's melted from work. Capitalism is a hell of a drag. Anyway, and later still. So, St. Ives had never actually met Danielle face to face. No. All their plotting and planning had been done from public phone booths or with go-betweens. What still confuses me, see, this keeps popping up. What still confuses me is how you could have thought Nemesis was Danielle when you knew Ernest thought I was Danielle and he hadn't harmed me. Okay, so let's see what happens. He goes, "Well, frankly, dear sister, given the strange tastes of your Aurora persona, I had assumed you romance yourself to safety." "What?" Now it's our turn to be like, what? So You mean you thought with Ernest St. Ives? You mean to think you tell me I fucked them? That's what she's saying. She's pissed. So he's like, why not? After your fling with Sasquatch, I'm prepared to believe you're capable of anything. And then this is again John Byrne telling you Northstar is gay without telling you Northstar is gay. I don't believe it. You dare, you of all people, dare pass judgment on my love life. You arrogant, insolent son of a... She's probably calling him like, a homosexual slur. Do not follow me, John Paul. Our partnership is ended. If I never see you again, it will be too soon. Aurora! She's flying off. She is fucking pissed. And then he's like, don't leave me. I'll be all alone. He kind of got cucked in this issue after he was talking all this shit about killing Deadly Ernest. Then he started fighting the person who he thought was the daughter of his best friend. So it's like best friend lover. So it's kind of weird how he was acting like this. But overall, those were two good issues. They were well drawn, well written, kind of convenient, some of the things that happened. Like I said, the first volume wasn't as good as the second volume, which I'm reading now. And already, the Sasquatch story with Super Skull, things building up to the big stuff with Guardian and whatever. But I won't get into that now. So yeah, I just thought that these were very interesting issues. The main thing was just how clever John Byrne was with his hints, which really, I mean, it's just so obvious. Now, I don't know, maybe as a kid, somebody reads this and doesn't get it, but it's just so obvious. He's straight up saying this whole time, because I saw somebody on Twitter say, a lot of people complain about a lot of these superhero characters who have been turned gay, but don't include Northstar in that. Because Northstar wasn't turned gay. He was outed. And that's absolutely correct. He was just outed. And it's a shame that his personality isn't up to par. Like, he's not the same person. Once out, it seems like they had to make him a nicer, better person. And that just made him boring. And that's the problem with a lot of SJW kind of approach to comics and adventure stories, is that once you have a character who is part of a marginalized group, you can't really do anything to them or make them pieces of shit. And Northstar was never a piece of shit. He was just an annoying chump, which was great about him. He was an arrogant prick, and that's what's cool about him, being the dick. But he can't really be like that if he's openly gay, because now you're saying that an openly gay person is a dick. And there's plenty of openly gay dicks out there, so to speak. But, you can't do that in art, because now all of a sudden that's going to reflect poorly on people. So people who are reading superhero comics are going to go out in the streets and beat up gay people because Northstar is a cuck and a prick, because he acts like a dick and a prick. So they can't do that, and it happens with a lot of them. Like, the women can't get into, he can't get the ass beat by the villain, really. Because, if they do, they can't just take a beating and get up and just keep on ticking and just get over it. They have to explore PTSD. They have to stand up for women's rights and talk about how, women being abused is a terrible thing. It's like that whole controversy with, was that Apocalypse, who was strangling Mystique on that billboard, and how people turned an adventure comic scenario into domestic abuse. We have these two blue characters fucking each other up, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh no, who will protect the women and the children? This is terrible. So yeah, that's, it's just a shame that you have people who don't understand this stuff getting involved in it and fucking everything up for everybody else. But I've been going on a lot longer than I should have, and I'll shut up now. Take care.